Hi, my name is Barbara K, your certified financial education instructor. Welcome to this channel where we talk everything personal growth, personal financial management, and life in general. Recently, I had a near-death experience that gave me a wake-up call to consider or take my estate planning seriously. And I'd like this video to be your wake-up call too if you've never considered planning for your estate or you're even not sure where to begin from regarding planning for your estate. Join me as we delve into what estate planning is, why is it important, and we shall also be debunking some myths around it and pointing out some mistakes that you should avoid when planning for your estate. So what is estate planning? It is a process of making arrangements for how your assets and affairs will be managed or distributed during your lifetime and even after your death. So it is very important that you plan for how your hard-earned money or the fruits of your sweat will be passed on to people, to your loved ones, whether you're still here or after your death. It is very, very absurd. Imagine this, that you have worked so hard all your entire life, maybe all your 80 years of life or 40 or whatever time God decides to take you. And then once you transition, someone who you maybe didn't like or was not part of your success story is now enjoying the fruits of your sweat. Here is the thing, if you don't plan for your estate, the court will decide or will plan for you. And you might not like the outcome. The sad part is you will not be here to defend that. So it is very important that you write down clearly. Write it down. It should not be verbal. Write it down and in a legalized manner. There should be a witness. It should be, signed, dated. But we'll get into that. But it should be a legal document that, heavens forbid, should you pass, then it can now take action, or it can be used, or whatever your wishes were can now be respected. We've all had very many sad stories in our society where someone comes from a wealthy family and then maybe a parent or a spouse passes on and the story changes. Before they're even buried, there's crime and partition for the assets this person, the deceased, has left behind. And unfortunately, it will be by people closest to that family or that person, either friends or relatives. And then you will find that the beneficiaries of this person who has died do not actually take advantage or benefit from what he left behind. And that's because of one reason. There was no will or a document left behind for how the distribution or his affairs will be managed when he passes. You find people going back to either a village or going to schools they didn't wish their kids to be in, all because of poor planning or lack of estate planning. Now, estate planning is broad. It's like an umbrella, and under it, there are very many components. Like trust, that's why you'll find things like trust, like will, like maybe powers of attorney who will take decisions for you, whether you are still here and incapacitated or when you transition. So, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to focus on a will. What should be in a will? Why is it important to have it? At what stage of your life should you write a will? And also we'll be talking about the mistakes you should avoid while writing a will or when you have a will, and also debunking the myths like I'd said. So let's start with the myths that surround will or estate planning in general. Myth number one, I am too young for estate planning. Now, this is such a huge myth because estate planning is for everyone regardless of your age. As a matter of fact, we all know that unexpected events can happen anytime, and we're seeing young people who are vibrant, strong, dying. So it is important that whether you are 20, 19, whatever age you are, you plan for your estate. Myth number two is that estate planning is for the wealthy. The thing is, estate planning is not all about wealth distribution only. It is more than that. It looks at guardianship. It looks at healthcare. For example, if you ever, heavens forbid, are on maybe life support, what are some of the decisions or wishes you would love or you would want for people to know in that moment of your life? So it is more than wealth distribution. The other thing is, it does not matter how much wealth you have, or how much or how many assets you have to your name. Things like phones, your clothes, the furniture you have in your house. Have you ever wondered or asked yourself, or the car you're driving, that should anything happen to me, who do I want my car to go to? Who of all the people around me, your loved ones or friends, who should take this cloth? Who should take this dress? Who should take my shoes? Who should take my bag? Digital assets. Us, the young people who think asset planning is for old folks, we are making so much money on the internet. Technology. You have a YouTube channel, it is fetching you money. You're influencing brands. You have a huge following on social media that you're using to monetize. So heavens forbid should you go. Have you ever wondered how you would want that to continue for you so that it's beneficial for people around you or for your loved ones? The other myth is that I don't need a will because my family knows my wishes. Now, the funny thing is that verbal wishes actually don't hold water. They can be contested at any time, and those verbal wishes are the reason that we've had scramble and partition, if I may call it, for people's property and assets. Because, for example, heavens forbid, if I passed on, the verbal wishes, this is how it would go like. Barbara told me that when she dies, she would love her land, this place to go to this person. Then another uncle or another friend or another person will come and say, no, she said this should be given to this one. And this is what normally takes place. And it is very wrong. So it is important that instead of assuming that your family or friends know your wishes, have them written down. It saves people, it saves your loved ones a lot of emotional distress and a lot of confusion. Once you're gone or you're in a state where you are incapacitated and you cannot make decisions for yourself. Rather have them written down clearly than relying on the verbal wishes that you made maybe when you were not even meaning them at that point. So that there is no she said, he said. You could have written your will like 10 years back and maybe you've accumulated some assets now, or maybe the people that were in your good books have passed on that were in the will, now you don't like them anymore. So it is important to regularly review and update your will with your lawyer or with whoever is in custody of your will, so that if at all you're ever in that state where it needs to be pulled out and used, then it will be up to date. The last myth is my spouse will automatically inherit my estate. Now, intestacy laws vary from place to place. For Uganda, we know that there was a succession act, an amendment in the succession bill, if I may say, that was recently passed. Now, those assumptions will unfortunately might lead to unexpected or unwanted consequences. So we would rather have it written down than assume that automatically your spouse will inherit your estate. And especially it becomes tricky in blended families, or where you find that you had other caretakers who are maybe not your biological children. You had maybe people who were living in your home and they were dependent on you. The law, the succession planning law, will cater for those people as well if you do not have a will. So have a will in place, then have assumptions that your spouse will automatically inherit your estate. So now let's talk about the mistakes that you should avoid when it comes to estate planning or writing wills in particular. Number one, there's a mistake of procrastination. You accumulate, you add on the assets you have, and then you're like, I will update. Let me first acquire this asset, or let me first do this, then I will update my will, or I will write my will. Now, I think this is a mistake that I must confess that I was having. And that's why I told you in the beginning of the video that it was a wake-up call for me. I had acquired some assets and I was like, there's another asset I want to acquire. Let me first, so that it's a bit time-saving for me and costly for me to go to the lawyer and everything. Update as regularly as you can. Do not procrastinate. Start now. If you've never written a will, do it now. If you want to update it, do it now. And that takes me to my second point on the mistakes you should avoid. Having incomplete or outdated wills. You find that some wills are incomplete, there are no signatures, maybe they're outdated, your wishes have changed, but then on paper, you've not changed your wishes. So regularly review your wills or your documents and update them. Make sure they are signed correctly by the right people and they are kept correctly. Wherever you choose to keep them, whether with a bank or with your lawyer, but make sure that they are kept properly. The other mistake to avoid is make sure that people or someone that you trust knows where your will is now. I am not saying that you should tell them the details of, oh, this is what I wrote, blah, 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 because that one, we've also seen people being killed, especially by beneficiaries, because they know what is in the will and they want to get it quickly, and they end up taking people's lives before their actual time. So the importance is just to know that, should I pass? Or should I be incapacitated in any way? Then at least Barbara knows that this lawyer of mine is the one who has my will. There is a copy there and there is another copy here, so that there is no, because we've also had people tamper with people's wills. So tell someone, let someone know where your will is, who it is with. If it is in a bank, which bank is it? Who is your contact manager in that bank? Let someone know. Otherwise, you will have a will, and maybe because we don't know where it is, someone will never bring it out for your wishes to be respected. The other mistake is ignoring digital assets. Like I'd said, we're in the era of technology, so many people are making money online, and there is a tendency of people thinking that what should be in the will should only be things like this tangible, a house, land, a car, but even your digital assets that you've accumulated, the cryptocurrencies, the stocks, equity in whatever companies, YouTube, all these things should also be included in the will and properly listed on how you want them passed on to your beneficiaries. The other mistake is the do-it-yourself situation, where someone says, and by the way, just before I even get to that, you can write a will by yourself. You don't need a lawyer. However, to avoid legal challenges where a will is legally challenged, it is important that you bring on board estate planning attorneys or lawyers specialized in that field to guide you depending on your unique situation, depending on what your wishes are, but make sure that the document that you've written is legally accepted. So seek professional guidance, seek professional help. Do not be a one-man show or an island thinking you can do it all. Have it written down. You can first write it down by yourself, but seek professional help. And if you feel that that is not something you have in your budget, look for a relative or a friend that you trust that has done law and is specialized in that area to do it for you for free. They might be kind and then just do it for you. So, but seek that guidance. The other mistake is that people forget to include issues of guardianship, especially for minors. Like I said, there's this mistake or myth of thinking that estate planning or writing wills is only about property. And when I say property, land, a house, a car, but it is beyond that. That is why I said estate planning includes for how your affairs will be managed both when you're still alive and when you transition. So make sure if you have minors or dependents who are minors, include guardianship issues in the will. How will they be taken care of? Who do you trust to take care of the kids or the dependents that you have, or even your elderly dependents? Have that stated in. The other is have a health in there as well. Have the health aspect written in as well. Don't let it only be about when you pass and your property, but when you are incapacitated, when you cannot talk, when you cannot walk, how would you want your wishes to be respected? State that in as well. Now, I understand that conversations around will, around estate planning bring mixed emotions and feelings. As a matter of fact, people think, am I calling death on myself? Is this a bad omen? Especially in Africa, but even in the rest of the world. The truth is, it is important that you write it, because failing to plan is planning to fail. And a well thought out estate plan is a gift for yourself and your loved ones. It brings clarity, it brings peace of mind and security in the future in case you pass away or heavens forbid anything happens. Now, if you want to learn how to plan for your estate, how to write a will, how to come up with a trust for your property, for your assets, kindly consider to enroll for the Financial Diet Academy program, because estate planning is a whole topic that they have in their academy, and they will be having an experienced facilitator to tackle it. So you will be at an advantage to ask all the questions, and you will be guided. You will be given even the templates of asset planning that you will take and use. If this video was helpful, please do remember to share it with a friend, a family member, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you will be the first to know whenever I post any new video. Till then, see you in my next video. Goodbye.